Well, good morning, folks. Another pretty nice day in the mountains. It's probably like a little bit warmer today than the other day was. It's probably around 12 degrees right now. But it's still a lot cooler than it has been of late, which is good. And once again, I am in some kick-ass, rugged, steep country. It's not hard to find here where I live. Where I live here on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, it's basically, the island is a rock. And basically the island is a rock, and it's steep everywhere for the most part, which is perfect for me because guess what? I get to get into sheep shape, right? I get to get into sheep shape. Getting there. I'm getting myself in shape, slowly but surely. That last hike, let me tell you, kicked my ass. So, up there is where I'm heading. That's my intent, to get up to the top of that draw, or to the top of that hill. It's not a mountain. This is just a little hill for me. And get up to the top of the hill here, and then I'll work this. Let me show you here. Get up to the top of the hill, probably another few hundred yards, 500 yards maybe. And then I'm gonna get it, once I'm on the top, should be a little bit more open. And then I'm gonna carry on up the creek draw here. It's been a week since the last hike. I try to do one a week. But as I say, that one was a tough one. And this one ain't much easier. I'm out of breath. Yeah, it's steep. We get these powerful winds coming off the ocean. And they'll come up these draws like this and just wreak havoc. You know what? I'm gonna sit my ass down and take a break. And I'm gonna get a couple more emails read out for you guys. One for sure, maybe two. I'd like to try to do two because I'm kind of getting inundated with emails now. God, I can just imagine how Steve feels, because he literally gets like hundreds a day. So I can just imagine how he feels. But I'm the kind of person with everything that I do or whatever, like if I get backed up or backlogged or whatever you want to call it, it bothers me. I'm like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. So, I mean, I'm still sitting with probably 20 emails now in my inbox and going back from quite a while ago. So if I have a chance, I'm going to get maybe 2 red. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'm going to find a spot to have a seat here and we'll get something going. All right. Got my eyeballs on. Man, I'm telling you, that's a steep hill. I'll get a bit more video of that going down. But take a break. Take a break and try to get a couple of emails read for you. And get them off my plate. So I gotta go into my notes here. All right. No rhyme or reason to the order here. I think I just copy and paste these to the order they come in. So here we go. Hello, Darren. My name is Emily Stewart. I'm 42 years young and live in the beautiful state of Colorado. I'm a wildlife biologist and avid outdoors enthusiast. I started hiking and venturing into the mountains when I was in my early 20s and have had the opportunity to do some amazing trips over the years. In 2005, after graduating university, I completed my first extreme hike of the Appalachian Trail. Wow. And it was absolutely incredible. In 2008, I was hiking the Pacific Crest Trail from Washington State on the British Columbia border to Northern California. I believe that Pacific Crest Trail, goes right across to the far southern U.S. Mexico border, I believe. Wow. I had hoped to be able to do the entire 4-month hike, but couldn't get the time, so I settled on finishing in Northern California. Anyways, I was on the trail in the mountains of Oregon and had seen very few hikers the entire trip. It was late afternoon and I was taking a rest before my final push to my chosen camp spot for the night when I noticed what I thought was a person across the valley from me and maybe halfway up the mountain. This person appeared to be sitting on a rock in an opening in trees and looking in my direction. I didn't have any binoculars with me, and this person was quite a ways across the valley. There was no trail on that side that I knew of, and it was very steep and rocky terrain, but I was certain this was a person sitting down, looking at me, or at least in my direction. When I decided to carry on, I put on my pack and looked over and waved, but got no response. I then thought maybe it was just a part of the rock outcropping. I started down the trail, and after a couple of minutes, I looked back, and the person on the rock was gone. It was indeed someone after all. As I carried on down the valley, I kept looking across to the other side, and about 10 or 15 minutes later, I saw this person again walking through the small trees just below the alpine. It was then that I realized this was not a person. This thing was walking like a human, but I could tell by its gait that it was not a human. Even at that distance, I could tell its stride was very long, and it had a very distinctive movement that I had never seen before. I stopped and turned to watch this thing, and immediately it stopped, but not in the open. It was partially hidden in the trees where I could not make out more than a figure. Although I'm very familiar with animals, with animals of North America, I was very nervous, and yes, I was scared with what I thought I was looking at. I turned and carried on down the trail at a much faster pace than previously, and periodically I would look across the valley, and yes, this thing was paralleling me, slightly behind me. Each time I would stop and turn, it would stop immediately. I decided I better get moving and get to the lake that I had planned to camp at and hope that there were other hikers camped there to give me some comfort. For the next hour and a half down to the lake, this thing was there, paralleling me the entire time. Although I lost sight of it a few times, it always reappeared moving through the trees. When I got to the lake, I was distressed to find no one else there camping. I looked up the valley and could not see this being anymore. I contemplated if I should camp or keep hiking, but I knew hiking in the dark was not a smart idea. But how smart was it to camp alone where some type of being is following you, stalking you? I decided I had no choice but to set up my tent and spend the night. Brave, brave woman. Once camp was set up and a small fire going, I started looking back up the valley and spotted this thing in the trees again, and it appeared to be sitting, watching me like the first time I saw it. I was very nervous now. I grabbed my air horn and pointed it in that direction, and gave it a blast. Immediately, this thing vanished. But not more than 10-15 minutes later, it reappeared in exactly the same spot and remained there until it got too dark for me to see anymore. Needless to say, I never slept a wink that night. I guess not. And although I tried to keep the fire going, I ran out of wood and the fire went out. I heard a lot of noises in the night and sounded my air horn several more times when I heard branches breaking near my tent. I was literally up all night, and when the sun came up, the first thing I did was look for this being up the valley, but it was not there. I've studied animals and their behavior, etc., in university, and I know what animals we have here in North America. It's my job. This was not an animal, and this was not a person. This was a being, and as far as I'm concerned, this was in fact a Bigfoot. No doubt in my mind. What it was doing following me, I have no idea. But there's no doubt it knew I was there, and it followed me a long ways. Since that day, I started doing my own research into these beings. And although I've got 17 years experience in animal biology, I know little to nothing about them. I have read many reports, including Dr. Melba Ketchum's DNA study several times, and there's no denying fact of science. You got that right. These beings do exist, and I, like many others, know this for a fact. We still do not know their origin or genetic makeup, but we do know they share female human DNA. It's the male unknown that's baffling to the scientific world. Anyone who is interested in these beings should not ask, what are they? But more importantly, why have they been kept secret for so long? Yep. I know many people say it's all bullshit, a myth, a story. That's the way we've been raised. To them I say, ignorance is no excuse. There is plenty of evidence, scientific as well as sightings, pictures, and videos. Is some of this fake and fabricated? Absolutely. But you can't fake DNA, and there's far too many reportings for them all to be fabricated. Why on earth would someone jeopardize their credibility and possibly their friendships making up a story to share with others about a mythical being? There is nothing mythical about them. All of this is only my opinion, of course, but I know what I saw, and I have accepted them as real for many years now. Take care. Please keep posting your amazing journeys for us to watch. Yours truly, Emily. Unbelievable. That one word again, unbelievable. And that probably is why so many have a hard time believing it, because it's hard to wrap your head around it. But I mean, here's a woman that studies animals. I don't know how many years you got to go to school for to be a biologist, but I'm sure it's a few. I'm sure it's many. Wow. I emailed a friend of mine the other day whose daughter is a biologist, and I want to have a chat with her one day, but I haven't heard back from him yet. She studies cougars. She's spent her life in school studying cougar behavior throughout British Columbia, in the mountains and in the field and whatnot. So I'd really love to sit and chat with her one day and just see what kind of, if she has anything to add to something like this. But wow, Emily, unreal. Like, how brave. I spend a lot of time alone in the mountains, camping out alone, and I've had scary shit. I want to show you this tree when I'm done. Speaking of weird, I've had scary shit happen to me. I've had bears, wolves, whatnot come around my camp, middle of the night, Wolverine, and most of the time I'm armed. Didn't sound like she was armed. I don't know. She didn't say she wasn't, but it didn't sound like she probably was. She had an air horn. Talk about brave to spend a night out there after that, but wild. Okay, I don't know how long we've been on here for, but we're gonna read another one. We're gonna read another one. So I think it might have been the very first email I read was Dave, a gentleman from Vancouver Island here, and he emailed me in, and I'm sorry I cannot remember Dave's encounter 100%. I believe that Dave was hunting in a region in central British Columbia where I go, and he was doing a bit of a gifting experiment or whatever. I believe that was Dave's email. Sorry, Dave, if I don't remember. I don't have a good memory at the best of times, but this is Dave's brother, and Dave told me that his brother may reach out to me, and he in fact did so. So I'm going to read Dave's brother's email here as quickly as I can, and then I want to show you this tree, and then I'm going to get the hell moving. Hello, Darren. My name is Bo. I'm 52 years old and recently had an experience very similar to yours with the feather, when I found that feather in the stump, stuck in the stump by my pack. I'm going to preface this by saying that I had a fascination with the Sasquatch topic when I was around 10 or 12 years old. I remember watching a documentary-like film on TV based on a group of people who were attempting to tranquilize one of these beings somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. Needless to say, they weren't successful, but it sure sparked an interest in me. The following weeks, I searched for books on the subject at my school library and took out the limited books they had on the subject. Fast forward about 35 some odd years, and being an avid blacktail hunter, I come across Steve on his YouTube channel, Steve Isdall, How to Hunt. He's a no bullshit guy like yourself, so I keep watching him, and boom, here comes the Sasquatch topic again. Since then, I've been listening and reading lots. not just to Steve, but to the handful of others like Ron Moorhead. Okay, Ron Moorhead, Sierra Sounds. Look it up. Sierra Sounds, Ron Moorhead. David Pilates, Rich Germeau, the folks at Flash of Beauty. And I 100% believe these findings of the Sasquatch Genome Project, headed up by Dr. Melba Ketchum. And the footage of Patty. Okay? You haven't seen that, you don't know much about Bigfoot. And that, in my mind, is Patty is 100% legit, Bo. I agree. You just can't make all that shit up. No, you can't, Bo. All this to say that it's been about 5 or 6 year journey, and now when I head into the bush, I ask for an interaction. I don't know, dude. Like my brother Dave, who recently shared his experience with you, I too am seeking personal validation. We live in a crazy world, and there is so much to it than our senses can pick up. You mentioned briefly that you speak to your late father from time to time. I too speak to my late mother when I'm in the bush, and to others who I was close to who have passed and have taken what I call another ride on the magic carpet. So here's what I experienced. On the morning of August 11th, I was doing a training hike up a local mountain in preparation for my alpine mule deer goat hunt this year. This mountain has an established trail with about 2,000 foot elevation gain in 4 kilometers. And with a 40-pound pack on, it's an awesome way to get in shape. Damn right it is. I will also mention that there is an established herd of around 40 elk that hang around that area, although I have never seen any sign on the trail itself. And I have seen black bears on the trail. I was the only vehicle parked there that morning, and when I got my boots and pack on, I headed for the trailhead. It was around 7 a.m. when I got there. I stopped, took a deep breath, and asked, let's call them forest people, for any type of interaction. I even said that if they wanted to throw a fir cone or a small rock at me, to just go ahead and do it. Just please don't scare the living shit out of me. So off I go, step by step. I make the 4-kilometer journey to the summit with nothing out of the ordinary taking place. It's pretty foggy that day, so the view from the top is terrible. I took about a 15-minute break to choke down a couple of protein bars and some more water and start making my way back down the trail. I don't think I even got a kilometer down the trail yet, and I came across a feather from a raven propped up in a band of moss around an alder tree that's about 12 inches in diameter. It's at chest height on my right side. When I say propped up, I mean vertical, like it was placed there. Just like in your experience, at this point I had not seen anyone else on the trail, which means I had yet to cross paths with anyone on their way up who had arrived after me. I stopped in my tracks and recall the eagle feather you had found stuck in the wood by your pack. I stare at it for about 5 seconds, take a look around, and nothing. No sounds, no movement. Could it have been placed there by a human? Yes, it could have. But wait for it. I then remove it from the band of moss and say out loud, thank you. I got the feather you left for me. Thank you. Within 3 seconds, a tree comes crashing down about 150 feet to the left of me. Darren, I was a faller for 10 years. That was no sapling, and there wasn't a breath of wind that day, hence the fog and low cloud in the valley. To say I was stunned was an understatement. I was tempted to bushwhack towards the spot where the tree came down, but something inside me said, no, that's enough for today. I listened for a few more minutes and didn't hear a thing. I then said thank you one more time and carried on back to my truck with the feather, which now has a permanent spot in my gun room. Now let's look at this through another lens. Could it have been a bear or elk that pushed over that tree? Yes, it's possible, but I don't think it's probable. Why? Because of the timing. 3 seconds after I say thank you. Come on. Really? Darren, thanks for sharing this. Maybe one day this being
will be brought to the light of all humanity, and maybe it won't. My thoughts at this point are that they, the forest people, and the powers that be, we know who that is, don't want it to happen for some good reason. I don't think it's a good reason, Bo, but I agree. I think it would turn most religions and the theory of evolution upside down, and the thought of that and the general public trying to wrap their heads around it is just plain scary. Good luck with your Good luck on your upcoming hunts and filling the freezer with some awesome wild game. Feel free to reach out anytime. Bo. Wow. You know, he didn't see anything, but I mean, this is a very experienced outdoorsman, and not only in his for pleasure but for work. You know, a faller for 10 years, pretty wild. And I'm going to reach out to Bo for sure. Yeah, you know, there's so much to try to wrap your head around, and um, you know, if you're looking for answers, all you can do is listen to people and do your own research. You know, if you're here for shits and giggles, to hear a story, okay, well, whatever. But don't be an asshole and try to discredit people. There's nothing that irritates me more than somebody saying I don't believe that, because you're calling that person a liar. And Emily and Bo, in my mind, are good people, and they are not liars. Do I know this for a fact? Do I look into their story to validate it? No, I don't, because I don't need to. Okay, I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard in the woods, and that's right here, and it will be until the day I die. So, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say a damn thing at all, because I'll get rid of your ass off outlaw country. Um, but listen to people. These people are talking, you know, like Steve's channel. People are talking all over the damn world, so listen to them. Um, you know, I've had some people comment to me about, do you follow this TV show, Bigfoot TV show or whatever? No, guys, I don't. I don't hardly watch any TV. Um, and I personally, just my opinion, okay, I personally don't believe in these Bigfoot research TV shows, or I also don't really believe in any that I've seen Bigfoot research YouTube channels. I don't really, the only person I follow on YouTube is, I follow a couple of other bushcraft channels, but I follow Steve, and I followed Steve for hunting purposes and whatnot, and then the Bigfoot topic came up. So I don't follow any Bigfoot channels on YouTube, because I just don't think there's anything really like, there is researchers. Dr. Melba Ketchum's a researcher. Dave Pilates, I don't know enough about Dave, but so I don't know. Um, you know, but like, in my opinion, honestly, um, a person that I give a lot of credibility to is Steve Isdell. Okay, and the reason I give this credibility to Steve is Steve's been a professional hunting guide, top notch hunting guide his entire life. He spent more time in the mountains than anybody else I know. And he still spends a ton of time, way more than I do, and I spend a lot. Steve has seen a Bigfoot on several occasions. Steve has had other interactions with them. Steve does not go looking for them. I don't go looking for them, but Steve doesn't go looking for them. He's not a researcher, but in my mind, he's got a lot of information, and that information has come from people, listening to people, and I think that's what we need to do more of. So, anyways, one other thing too is, I was on a walk the other day with my wife, and was telling her about one of the emails that I read that I haven't gotten to yet, which is it's a pretty good encounter. And my wife said to me, why do you think the authorities, whatever levels of government or whatever, don't want people to know about them? And I said, I honestly don't know. I don't know enough about it. But I'm confident they don't want us to know. They don't want you to know the truth. They don't mind people dabbling in it. but I think if you dig too deep, you could get stung. And I don't give a shit if I get stung by the government. I could care less. But and then the other thing that my wife said to me, which I thought was very interesting, we talked quite a bit about it, is she said, "Do you think there's good ones and bad ones?" And I said, "Yeah, I honestly do. I think, like, why would they be any different than people? There's good people, there's bad people. These are a very intelligent being. As far as I'm concerned, way more intelligent than human beings, way more. And I think they're capable of whatever they really want to do. But I think there's good ones and there's bad ones. And I think there's been a lot of encounters shared by people of good and bad and whatnot. But you hear a lot of they're evil and demonic and all this shit, and I don't believe that. I don't believe they're evil and demonic. I still stand firmly to what I say, just my opinion. But I still stand firmly to what I say. I believe they are a people, a type of people, and there's probably good and there's probably bad. And but I also believe we can coexist because nobody has had anything serious happen to them that I know of. So I think we can coexist with them. Anyways, that's enough bullshitting for now. I'm gonna get out of here. If you don't believe in them, don't watch this. And I'm not gonna have a ton of more hiking footage on this video because it's probably gonna be a long video with 2 emails. But I might do a little bit of video on the hike out of here. So I'm gonna get my ass in gear. Did anything come out behind me while I was reading? You never know. Alright guys, hope everybody's safe. Have a great day. We'll catch you later. Yes, it's steep. You're damn right. Oh, damn it. I had that one coming. Jesus, that hurt. Yeah, I gave my elbow a pretty good whack there. But I'll be alright. I'll be alright. No pain, no gain. My knees are very unstable. My knees are unstable, and that's why I do these hikes, is to try to keep them strong. Three-point contact. Try to keep my knees strong. That's why I do these hikes. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but they're weak, eh? And that's when I end up taking a fall. I'm not going to edit that out because you guys want to see the whole hike, even when I fall on my ass. So I had a couple of things. I had someone, shit, that was steep. I had someone comment to me saying, which I was really happy to hear, saying, boy, your camera footage is absolutely stunning, clear, like the colors and so on and so forth. And that was nice to hear because that's my new camera that I bought. And they asked me, what camera do I use? I use the, I bought 2 cameras actually, because as I said before, I was using really old shit, but I bought 2 cameras. I ended up buying a DJI Osmo Action 3, which I have right here, mounted on my chest. And I just got it. This is its maiden voyage, and it's something that I can just wear and turn on. Has hours of recording capabilities. And then I bought the one that I've had for a few weeks now, or whatever, is the one I've had for a few weeks now is the one that I'm looking at here. This is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And it's wild because it can lock onto a subject and it can track that subject if you want it to. So I can set it up and hike away from it, and it'll track me and follow me, and same thing if I'm hiking towards it or whatever. So that's very cool. This is a freaking spooky spot. Look at this. The last oh my god, the last video too, on the hike that I went on, I was huffing and puffing, and I was yeah, it was a hell of a hike, just like this one. And anyways, I have a bit of an issue with my throat. I have a bit of an issue with my throat, and I was clearing my throat trying to talk with you guys, and some jackass or 2 people made a comment about it or whatever, saying like, boy, so annoying or whatever. And I responded, I said, I apologize, but just a little bit of background. I don't do that on purpose. When I was 17 years old, I got beat up really badly. It was a case of mistaken identity. They thought I was somebody else. And I was 17 years old, and 3 guys beat the living shit out of me. Like, badly. So 2 guys held me. 2 guys held me, and 1 guy pounded on me until I was unconscious. And I grew up in a tough town, farmers and fishermen, and yeah, at 17 I could hold my own, no doubt about it, but not against 3 guys. Anyways, I took a shit kicking, and they bust me up bad. They were kicking me in the throat when I was down, kicking me in the throat, the chest, the face, and I lost some teeth and broke my cheek, broke my nose, ruptured my spleen, did damage to my kidneys, all sorts of shit. It was a freaking mess. So I apologize if I have to clear my throat every once in a while. But it's because of that. I think I've had damage to my throat, as well as a lot of other parts of me, and that's what causes it. So anyways, and then what else we got? I think that's it. You know what? I'm not going to even talk about any more. There's only been a handful of jackasses comment. There's only been a handful, and I'm not even going to give them the time of day to talk about them. I just, when I get a smart ass comment or somebody saying that they don't believe one of these fine people that is emailing in their encounters, I just hide them from the channel. And I thought they knew that they were hidden, but I'm later to find out that they don't know they're hidden. So these dipshits are probably still commenting
about my videos, they can watch my videos and they can comment, but their comment doesn't get posted. They're the only ones that see their stupid ass comments. You and I don't have to see them anymore. And they're probably too damn stupid to figure that out. But just don't put up with it, guys. I don't put up with it. I had enough negativity in my life. I'm side hilling this mountain now because I'm a little sore. I had enough negativity around me growing up in my life, negative people and whatnot, that I don't put up with that shit anymore. If you're a negative asshole, boom, gone. I only want to deal with good people, and we have like 6,000 plus good people here. Okay, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. We'll see you guys in a few more days. I'm going to try to do a hike a week, and if I can, I'm going to do an email or two per hike. So stay tuned, folks. I'm out.